Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Club. This is the place everyday real estate investors gather to share their best stories, biggest insights, and favorite tactics to grow a portfolio of cash-flowing properties in today's market. Here's your host, Gabe Peterson.
And we're back. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. Today we got Zach Boothe with us. Zach is from dfdmastery.com. He is a master at wholesaling and getting deals off market. We're going to talk a little bit about driving for dollars today, which is a very untalked about method of generating leads. So I'm super excited. Zach, thank you very much for hopping on.
Of course. Thanks for having me, man. It's good to be here.
All right. I told you before we got on here, we always start with stories. So why don't you take us to the beginning of your story? How'd you get started in real estate?
Yeah. So when I was 14, I was raised to work. My dad put us to work in the family lawn mowing business after school, after work, or not after school, after extracurricular activities and basketball and so forth. And so I mowed lawns from the time I was 11 to I was about 15. When I was 14, I asked my dad, why are we mowing lawns? Why do we have a small house? Why do all these people we work for have these giant houses? How much do they make? I was so curious. It didn't make sense to me. And so I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was 14. My dad told me about his rich friend, and his rich friend gave me that book. So I read that book and my little brain started working already at 14 years old. And my family moved, and I quit working for the family business, but from 15 to 17, I worked in Nova Scotia, Canada. I made handcrafted cheese. I did taxidermy. I worked in a wood mill. I framed houses and did finish carpentry. I worked my butt off. I would clock 30 to 40 hours a week, even going to full-time high school.
So I heard taxidermy and cheese in there. That is that's extremely unique.
Yeah, it is whatever I could find. I live out in the West. Taxidermy is a normal thing. I hunt, and I've got that stuff. So I was connected to that world, and it was a job that I could do at nights. I would play basketball, and during basketball season, that's what I do. So I'd show up to the shop, and it was a horrible job, guys. It was like he gave me the dirtiest of the nastiest stuff. Gross. Okay. I won't go into details. I don't know. Someone might be eating breakfast or something. So it was bad. But I knew a family friend had a handcrafted cheese company called Beehive Cheese. And I worked there. I'd get up super early before school and go do that. So I'd get up at about 3-4 in the morning, and I would, receive the milk. We'd run it through the, what do you call it? The pasteurizer. And then it would go right into the vat. And I would prep most of the cheese. And by the time it was ready for school, it was about ready to go into the compressors and make those 20-pound wheels of cheese. And then I'd run off to school, do my thing, play basketball, whatever. So my dad cut me off financially at 16. He said, now you're a man. And, he grew up rough, borrowing food from the neighbors to feed his younger siblings. Dad was an alcoholic and gambler. He came from a pretty rough lifestyle. So he taught me to be a man and to be responsible for myself, and I will be forever grateful for him. Things were his way or the highway. So, it was, and now he's like this big old teddy bear. And I tell my wife about who he used to be, and she's like, no. Yeah, he actually turned 61 yesterday. He came over to the office here. And anyways, I love him to death. I'm grateful for what he gave me. And he gave me a work ethic. And sure. So when I was 17, I had to quit trading time for money. I couldn't do $7-8 an hour. I couldn't cover my bills. I couldn't, my dad's like, well, if you want a truck, I won't co-sign. You get the cash. If you want it bad enough, you'll get the cash. And I'm like, crap, how do I do that?
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. So I was thinking about what can I do? And the idea was window cleaning, is what I came up with, something that I could start. So I had to come up with a truck, cell phone. They didn't have smartphones at that point. I had to get a bar phone from Cricket, because it was the only company that didn't require credit. It was the only carrier that would allow me. My dad wouldn't co-sign anything. My dad was like, you're on your own, boy.
Got this done.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, so I need a cell phone. And so I started figuring out all these things that I could do to get started. And I was like, okay, I need some cards, but I didn't have the money, right? I needed about $4,000 to $5,000. So I went to Nova Scotia, Canada, and I put 80-hour work weeks in. I worked for a landscaping company, and a family friend actually owned the Beehive Cheese Company. Their grandfather's very wealthy man, had a summer home up there. So I was taking care of this 8-acre summer home. It used to be an old tree farm, 3 fish ponds, just beautiful, beautiful. So I would do that early morning. And then in the evenings and then midday, I was doing hard labor. I was doing landscaping. So I was throwing sod, cinder blocks. I remember at nights I'd wake up, my hands would cramp up and I'd have to open them with my forearms because I was so sore. But I worked my butt off, and so I came home from that experience, had all the cash. I bought my truck, bought all my equipment, and I went to work. And I started door knocking straight from my parents' house because I didn't have gas money. And so I went out and started door knocking and got my first few clients. I remember the first day I made $100. And the first day I was like, okay, great. This is like full-time hours. I did it in a couple hours after school. I was like, this is incredible. And then I remember the first bid that I did was $100. And I remember the first bid that it was $2,000. And I remember, getting to the point where I had some money. And I grew that.
You did all that by door knocking, which for any business owner, the marketing aspect really it tends to be the hardest part of starting a business is going out there, getting leads. And so you went out there, like during the evenings, you were just knocking on doors until you got somebody who would allow you to work for them.
Yeah. And I grew that business for a decade. That's actually how I built it. I built it up to about $500,000 a year in sales and revenue. I had 3 trucks and 13 employees, and I was not afraid of hard work. And I did almost all of those sales myself. So I would work with my crews. I would door knock from 8:30 to 11 a.m. And I'd work with my crews till about 4 or 5. And then I door knock till I was done working, sometimes 9 o'clock at night. And I did that for years and years and years and years. And I was so burnt out. I hated my employees. They hated me. I had constant turnover. No one wanted to be a window cleaning technician. I was so sick of the industry. The bigger I got, the less profits I had, right? Like there was this overhead. The overhead is like my most profitable years when it was just me and 3 other people and 2 trucks. That was it. Yeah. And so I'm like, well, this is dumb. I'm trying to build something. I'm still paycheck to paycheck. From the outside looking in, I was successful, but I wasn't. I felt like a failure. I did not like myself. I was unhappy. I had, a beautiful little family and a wife that believed in me, and I had dropped out of college to be an entrepreneur. And, I went and told her, and I was terrified to tell her because her dad's a very educated man. And
you didn't have any balance in life.
Yeah. And it was horrible. And I remember the day my oldest was born, and I remember I was so stressed. I was like, how am I going to pay these medical bills? And I was mad at myself that I was stressed about that, and I couldn't enjoy the moment. So I was stressed and I was mad because of money.
Vicious circle. Yeah.
And I felt sorry for myself, and it was horrible. And I knew I needed something different. And so the last couple of years of washing windows, from about 2012, I bought my first duplex, right? Oh, nice. And so I'd had some success.
So real quick before you get into that, so how did you, you're running this business, you decided you were burned out, you couldn't do it anymore. What made you choose real estate? Like, was it Rich Dad Poor Dad, that specific book, or what made you think that real estate was
totally Rich Dad Poor Dad? Nice. Totally Rich Dad Poor Dad, and my brain was thinking about that. Like, how do I get more for less? And I knew I needed to invest. Yep. And so I bought a little duplex when I was newly married, and we lived in one side and rented the other, right? House hacking. Yep. And my payment, I got it for like $55,000, dude. I stole the thing. It was after the banks
that doesn't exist anymore. That's great.
Yeah. The banks were unloading foreclosures, and I got it for $55,000. That was actually $60,000, but I got $5,000 grants. So I didn't have to put any money down, but it had standing water in the basement, termites. Like, it was a mess, but I had construction background. I'd framed houses, finished carpentry. I knew how to run a saw. Yep. So I went to work, right? I put about $20,000 in materials, did all the work myself after work. And then at nights and stuff, like I remember there was times that I was sleeping 4 or 5 hours a night is all. And then I would work from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed to get that thing ready for my wife and I, and to put tenants in it. My monthly payment was about $450 and $450 a month. And then my, the rent on the one side was like $750. So I got paid to live there. It was awesome. And I was like, okay, let's do more of this. This is easy. I'm so smart. Look at me. And then reality hit when I tried to get another loan, and they wanted 25% down. And my debt to income ratio was an issue because I was trying to buy a property with no tenants, right? Yep. And a bigger property at a higher price point. And as prices kept going up, it became more and more of an issue for me. So I was like, well, crap, how do I get out of window cleaning? How do I become a rich real estate investor without being rich? Yep. Right. And I felt alone. I felt lost. And so what happened is I dabbled. I tried flipping a house and lost some money, and I had pitched to all my rich window cleaning clients to give me money. They got their money back, but I lost money. And anyway, so I was trying to do some stuff. We ended up house hacking another one and moved into it. And my wife got pregnant again, and she was like, I'm not living with tenants. So
right. That's reasonable.
yeah, she was like, I'm not living
I'm
with
done.
tenants.
This life is over. Yep.
Yeah. It's like, well, how the hell am I supposed to do this thing? So I ended up listening to podcasts just like this one and listening to books while I was washing windows the last couple of years of being in the industry. Learned about a thing called real estate wholesaling. It's the concept of finding properties at a discount and passing the opportunity off to a buy and hold investor or a flipper for a finder's fee. So you don't have to close on the contract. You actually just sell the purchase contract. You assign it to the end buyer. The end buyer closes on it. And people are talking about $20, $30, $50, $100,000 assignment fees. And I'm like, there's no way in hell that's real. And if it is, I want some. Right. So I started researching it, became a major skeptic. Actually, I didn't really believe it was possible. I was like, why would anyone sell it at 40 cents on the dollar? And if they do, you're taking advantage of those people. So, and I didn't want to do anything that was out of alignment with my core values. And so I kind of was at a loss. I started reading books on multifamily syndication and how do I do this? And trying to figure out a way. And then I washed windows for a wealthy gentleman. Name was Stan. I don't want to give his last name. I don't have permission to do that. But I washed windows for Stan. He's cleaning his giant mansion. And we struck up a conversation. I found out he's a real estate developer. So, of course, I had to know everything there was. And this was in 2016. And the end of about an hour and a half conversation, I was like, man, well, I had set a goal of finding 2 rental properties this year. And it's September at that point. And I'm like, I have no idea how I'm going to do it. And he said, oh, well, that's convenient. I've got these 2 properties I don't want to deal with. And I was like, okay, cool. Tell me about him. He's like, well, I'll give them to you at a very good discount. I'll give them to you for $500,000 for both of them, which was a very good discount because they're 1-acre horse properties, beautiful homes. They're only like 15 years old. They're just run down because he hadn't collected rents in 4 months. Tenants had deferred maintenance, and he just didn't want to deal with them. He's got multi-million-dollar developments going. He's not worried about $1,000 a month, right?
Yeah, right.
So he's like, I'll sell them to you. You just got to deal with it all, right? I have an agent that wants to list them, but she wants me to kick the tenants out and do all that crap, and she won't even go mow the lawn for me. So I was like, well, I'll go mow the lawns this weekend. So the code violation, the city will leave you alone. So I went and mowed his lawns that weekend, but we had put a purchase agreement together on a piece of white paper. He just pulled it out and started writing. He's like, and I was like, I can't get $500,000. He's like, I'll be the bank. That's fine. Can you put 20% down? I was like,
nice. Okay.
No, I can put like $2,000 down. He's like, okay, that works. I was like, oh my gosh. So, and then I'm like sweating bullets because I don't really know what I'm doing. I've only bought a couple houses, we had like agents and stuff helping me. So I was like, well, don't we need like a state approved form? Like, don't we need to? And he's like, no, just, here, let me explain. We'll agree to something here. You take this title company, you talk to an agent, make sure you're getting a good deal. You talk to a property manager and make sure that you're going to be able to get the rents you need to cover the payments. And we'll write out what we agree here. I'm going to go on vacation, go mow the lawns for me. I'll come back and we'll finalize the deal. So he's educating me on how to do this thing. So I take it to the agent and I'm getting these things at well over $100,000 at a discount, even after all the repairs.
Perfect.
So he's just giving me, he's just doing this huge favor for me. And my brain just starts going, everything that I've been hearing is true. People get sick and tired of properties and are okay with a discount if they like you. It's real. I'm serving him and helping him. He doesn't have to deal with it. And I get to make some money. And I'm like, let's do this. And so I actually ended up making over $100,000 on those deals.
Nice.
I put tenants in place with an option to buy, and they both exercised the right to buy the next year. I made over $130,000 when they cashed me out. And I was making like $800 a month, cash flow after all my expenses. So I was like, this is incredible. I need more of this. And that's when I was like, all right, I need a wholesaling coach. I need to know how to do this. I need to know how to consistently find these people that want speed and convenience over price. And if I can do that, I can have cash flow. I can have lump sums of cash. And then more importantly is I can cherry pick the best deals.
Yep. Yeah. And I always say, to anybody, even if your main goal isn't wholesaling is a great tool that any investor can use in their portfolio. I say every deal that comes across your desk, you need to do something with it. And wholesaling is just a tool that you can put in there and make it an active deal. So you got this deal, you sold them, you got this, what, 130,000, which is a great wholesaling fee, especially on single family houses. So what, after that point, what did you do to create an actual wholesaling business?
Yeah. Well, I started looking for someone that could teach me. So for the longest time, I told myself I was stupid. So I just had to work really hard because I didn't do well in school. And I don't retain information. I have like this anxiety to recall information. Like I'll forget someone's name and it stresses me out. I start getting stress sweat, right? Because I know it's important to remember, and then I forget because I'm stressed about it. But anyways, I have some weird tics, right, with myself, and so I had these beliefs that I wasn't smart enough to do something like real estate wholesaling or real estate. But I met someone at a real estate investors association meeting. It's, where a bunch of nerds like myself go meet up and talk about real estate and network and help each other. And I found out about this coaching program that teaches real estate wholesaling. It was Tom Kroll and Cody Hoffheim. They don't coach anymore, but they changed my life. Right. And they gave me the action steps and they were there to support me. And I love them both very much. Right. They've done amazing things for me and they've really changed my life. So I joined their program and they taught me the action steps, the step-by-step what you have to do to find deals and how to systematically go about doing it. Right. So I joined their program. The first 8 months, I made like 113 grand. I walked away from window cleaning. Right. And I was off to the races.
Yep.
And then struggled the next 2 months after that for a handful of reasons. The main one is I didn't have a good marketing channel. Mm-hmm. And then I started doing driving for dollars, and I did just shy of $500,000 that year. And then I started teaching what I understood to give back and serve. And maybe we'll talk about that. But the next year I did $1.2 million in wholesale fees, not coaching fees. I only made I actually lost money on the coaching. I collected like 20 grand for my students, but then I spent so much in helping them and putting systems and processes for them to understand it. But anyways, I did 1.2 million that next year. And now I'm consistently making over $1 million a year. And the best part is I don't negotiate deals anymore. I don't go on appointments. I have a team that runs it for me. And I spend all my time now doing podcasts like this. And I do 2 of my own podcasts, 2 of my own YouTube videos, TikToks, Instagrams. I serve and I give back. And that's where I find my fulfillment. So I've been very much blessed because of this industry.
I love it, man. So a few questions jumped into my mind. I mean, we're talking about wholesaling, and the first thing that you need to do when you're wholesaling is you got to generate the leads. You're specifically focused on driving for dollars, and it's not something that most people do. Driving for dollars takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort. And there's other channels like direct mail, text marketing, RVM, stuff like that work pretty well as well. So why specifically did you choose to focus on driving for dollars?
Yeah. So I was pulling generic lists and sending postcards and cold calling when I first started. So generic lists are like public records. And the goal is you're trying to find someone that wants a pawn shop for their house. Right. So anyone that's sick of it. So tired landlords, people that inherit properties, people are just emotionally done, or it's in bad condition. So it's just not going to qualify for traditional financing. They just need an investor. Right. So I was pulling tax delinquent lists, code violation lists, eviction lists, divorce lists. They were all public records. Right. And I was going to each individual city building and fighting with the secretaries and arguing, saying, yes, it is public records. I need it. Get it for me. Talking to the manager, and sometimes even having to talk to the city attorney. Right. It was a mess.
Yeah.
It was a mess. But it was awesome because the barrier of entry to get these lists meant that no one else was marketing to them.
Yep.
But the cities got together and said, hey, these investors keep asking for it and it's a pain in our butts. Why don't we put it on a state website? It's the only time I've seen the government do anything efficiently, and it hurt me. Right. So that's why I went 2 months without a deal, is that now every investor in the state was able to get those lists automatically every week. And all of a sudden my competition is now marketing to these exact same lists. Right. So I thought, okay, how can I find someone that wants a pawn shop for their house? And I said, well, and I thought I came up with the idea of driving for dollars. It's been around as long as real estate has. I'm an idiot, right? Like this is how little I knew at the time. So I was like, well, every property that has physical signs of neglect, well, most likely or much higher probability that property is a thorn in their side. It's a pain in the butt. So they're not going to take care of general maintenance. If it's a thorn in their butt, or in their side, they're going to want to sell it, for speed and convenience, most likely, right? They're not going to want to fix it up and deal with it because it's already been a problem for them. So I started driving around and writing down those addresses. And then I started recruiting people as I started making money off of it. And then I found about apps and technologies that can do it for you. Right. So traditionally driving for dollars was there, people used it to get their first deal and so forth. And now with some of the technologies, it can be done on a large scale. You can do over $1 million a year from just that marketing channel alone. Right. You can add over 100 properties every single hour of driving with this technology. So imagine you have a Google map, right? You have Google Maps open on your phone. You're driving through and you go, oh, that house has physical signs of neglect. Oh, that one has a mattress on the front lawn. Oh, that one has a broken window and they just put duct tape instead. So you're looking for this, just any physical signs of neglect. And all you have to do is touch the house on Google Maps as you're driving through. So you got it open. You're like, oh, there's one, stop, pull over. Oh, there's one. So you can add 100 an hour easy in these, suburban areas. And it uploads all of their information in an Excel spreadsheet ready to go. So I get phone numbers to text message or cold call, their property address, the mailing address, is an owner occupied, corporate owned, all of the information I need, I have it immediately. And I can export that list and go to work. Or right there within the app, you can do your marketing, right? The app I use called Deal Machine. You can use my discount code PIN to get a free trial. But this is what I'm doing. Like, this is how I'm finding my deeply discounted deals. And I have a team that does it for me. Most people think you need this ginormous team to do $1 million a year. I'm doing $1 million a year with one person that does my driving and manages all the marketing, the postcards and the text messaging, and uploads the phone numbers for cold calling. I have 2 Filipino VAs that cold call, and I have an acquisition manager that does $1 million a year. I'm going to do $2 million this year, but my business has expanded. I hired a second acquisition manager and a project manager to manage some flips as well. So you don't need a giant team or to have something extravagant. Like most people think when I say I do $1 million a year, they think that I have 15 sales reps under me. It's not that at all.
That's cool, man. I need to do an episode that just focuses on technology, because there are so many cool tools out there, like this one you're talking about, the Deal Machine, that just make whatever you're doing, half as much effort that's usually required. That's cool. I just checked the clock. We do have to move on. We've already passed our 15-minute mark. So I'm going to push us into the quick question round. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Always starts with books. I feel like I may know what you're going to say here, but give me 2 book recommendations, one for general life wisdom and one for real estate specific.
Before we continue on with today's guest, I want to tell you guys about a community I'm launching on School to help investors like yourself grow your own portfolio. In this community, you'll get access to all the docs I use, all the systems I've built, everything I've used to grow my own portfolio, as well as instructions and guidance on how to get out there and find great deals, how to finance those deals, and then how to manage them for great returns. Since we're just launching it, the price will be set at a measly $20 per month, and whatever price you join at is the price you'll have for life. We will be increasing the price as the group grows, so if you're at all interested in growing your portfolio along other investors, now is the time to join. I will put the link somewhere in the bio or on our podcast website at therealestateinvestingclub.com, so if you are interested, head on over there. With that said, let's get back to the podcast.
General life. So yes, I mentioned Rich Dad Poor Dad, but my preferred book for life is 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
A good one. Yep.
I love that book. It's been a huge one. There's many, but that's been a good one. As far as real estate, I actually really like the ABCs of Real Estate Investing, which is also from the Rich Dad Company. Mm-hmm. Robert Kiyosaki, I think Ken McElroy maybe is the co-author on that one. Yeah. But that's a good one for real estate and understanding how to evaluate commercial and rentals and that kind of stuff.
Perfect. 7 Habits and ABCs. 7 Habits was the first, personal development kind of book that I picked up, and man, that started it off. I really do like that book.
It's a great one.
All right, moving on. This one is about, just looking at my list here, your habits. So habits are the foundation of our lives. Could you point to one thing that you do day in and day out that you feel contributes the most to your overall health and well-being?
Yeah. So first off, I don't do anything always.
All right. That's your
I really don't. So a lot of people are like, oh, the morning routine. It's like, nope, I don't. But what I do, and consistently, but not every single day, is I always have something I'm trying to accomplish. I'm very, very much goal oriented. I have like a direction and something I'm trying to achieve, whether that's personal or physical or, my relationship financially. And then I have my Google calendars that outlines everything that I have to do. And I live by that calendar. I block out date time. I block out playtime, vacation time, and I live by that calendar. And then every time I have a free moment, I'm not sitting around. So I have a piece of paper. I'm old school. I don't do it on my computer or notes. You can do it wherever you want, but I put it on a piece of lined paper, and I have a little binder. And every time I have a thought that interrupts what my task is of like, hey, I need to get this done, I'll write it down on my paper. Nice. Every time I can't sleep at night because I'm stressed about something, or read all the stupid stuff that has to happen. Yep. And then I go through my list and I go, okay, who can I assign this to on my team? Can I hire someone to take this off my list? Who should be in charge of this? Because if I do everything, I won't ever accomplish anything. Yep. So that's the first thing I do. Then I look at it and I go, okay, what's going to move the needle towards my goals the most? If checking my emails on that list and making a sales call, right, to make a $50,000 contract happen on a piece of real estate, I'm not going to check my email, yep. Right? I'm going to go in and just archive my entire email list and say, if it was important, they'll call me. Right.
One way to do it.
I do it. I actually do that all the time because it becomes overwhelming. Right. I have found that too many people, as I've coached people and helped people become successful, people say they work really hard, but they work on tasks that don't move the needle so they can feel good that they're working, but they're actually not working. The stuff that moves the needle is the most uncomfortable. It's the hardest stuff to do. It requires discipline. So that's something that I've done that really has pushed me forward in life, is I do the uncomfortable things, and I have a list of all of the tasks that I do the most uncomfortable and the things that move the needle the most.
Yeah. No, that really is a good piece of advice, because so many times thoughts will just come into your mind and they'll screw up what you're doing in the moment. You just got to get it out, put it somewhere so you don't forget it, but just making sure that it's out of your head.
Yep.
All right, moving on. This one is for your younger self. So if you could go back to the Zach who was, say, working in the taxidermy office, filling those animals, and go back to him, look him in the eye, give him one piece of advice moving forward.
I would give the advice my uncle gave me, but I would kick it into myself because I didn't listen to my uncle. And the advice is earn and learn, right? That you are going to make lots of mistakes on your own, right? It's going to require a lot of hard work, and you know that. But you need to educate yourself. You need to be constantly investing into education and reading books and studying and researching topics that are needed for you to accomplish the goals you've set. Hard work alone will not get you where you want to be.
Perfect. I love it. All right. The next one is location. So the United States, big place, a lot of places to invest. What is one area you are most excited about that is not your backyard, you're most excited about investing in?
So I believe that we create our opportunities, not the economy, not the location. Yeah. I think that we create the location. So that's how I'm going to answer that. Maybe that's not what you were looking for, but I really believe this can be done anywhere. And the grass may seem greener on the other side, but it's not.
Yep. That is absolutely true. I would put a caveat on that there are metros that will get you lower returns than other metros. So I would say that location does matter to an extent, but you're right. It's the individual that really matters and the actions you're putting into it.
Well, if you can get properties at 40 cents on the dollar, 30 cents on the dollar, you kind of have to be an idiot to lose money. Right. So you can be in the worst of the economic locations and get properties at 30 cents on the actual value. You close on them and boom, you just tripled your net worth.
Yep.
Right. So I'm more of a believer in getting really damn good at finding properties at a massive discount, and the rest will follow. Right. Our business is marketing and our product is real estate. Our business is not real estate.
Right. No, absolutely. Everybody says that real estate is a marketing game, and I couldn't agree more. It's the hardest thing to find the property. That is the biggest, obstacle to overcome, is finding a good deal. Once you do that, the rest is not cakewalk, but it is not as hard. Moving on to our last question. You've given us a lot of good advice, a lot of good things to think about. I'm sure people out there want to reach out, hear about driving for dollars. So what is the best way for people to reach out and get in contact with you?
Yeah, so I actually did some free content. I know you guys don't really care about my success. What you care about is your success and how to get there. And I understand that. And I truly want to give back. I truly want to serve people. So I made a huge personal investment, a huge personal sacrifice. I sent my family down to Brazil. My wife's from Brazil, and they spent some time with her family. And I flew across the country. I flew to Tampa, and I had a goal of taking $1,000 and turning it into the average American income in just 40 days, which is $40,000. So I was going to show people how possible it was. I wanted to give that gift of confidence and belief that I got from meeting Stan in my story. Right. And so I was like, well, I want to inspire and encourage people, but if they don't believe it's possible, they'll never take action. So I took a film crew with me and show day by day exactly what I do and how I did it to get started from scratch. So I took $1,000. I did exactly what I teach my students. Sorry, I just hit my mic. Do exactly what I teach my students. And, I blew the goal out of the water. I was blown away. I was super grateful. It was an incredible experience, but I made $93,000 in wholesale fees in just 40 days. And I documented it day by day. So if you guys want to watch that, that's going to be probably the best thing that I can give you guys. You can follow me everywhere you want to. I'm on every social media platform, but dfdmastery.com/40 in 40 is where you can catch that content.
Perfect. That is watching somebody actually do the thing that you are trying to do is the best form of education you can get. So I would encourage anybody who's interested in, learning a little bit more about wholesaling, check that out. It's dfdmastery.com/40 in 40. I will put that link in the show notes as well. So if you guys are interested, just click the little more in the description. It'll pop down the full description in there. You can see that link, or you can just remember it's not that hard. dfdmastery.com/40 in 40. Awesome, Zach. Well, that concludes it. Thank you very much for hopping on the show.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And for everybody who's here with us today, thank you guys for showing up. You are the reason we do this. So if you guys have any questions whatsoever, reach out to me, Gabe at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thank you for joining us for another episode of the Real Estate Investing Club. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode and were able to pull some actionable advice that you can go home with and apply to your own investing business. Before you go, I have a gift for you. If you're a new investor looking to get started or an established investor looking to take your business to the next level, I've created an ebook just for you available on the website. This ebook will cover how I was able to create both active and passive income in real estate with very little money to start with. In it, I will address the 3 most often cited obstacles new and veteran investors run into by showing you how to find a deal that's actually a deal, how to finance that deal with little to no money down, and how to exit a deal for maximum value. And if you get the ebook today, I'm going to bury you in bonuses, 7 of them to be exact. First, you'll get the off-market lead generation blueprint, which will take you through the exact systems and processes we use to generate off-market leads like clockwork, which is the most important skill when it comes to creating real wealth in real estate. Then you'll get the A to Z REI systems and vendors guide, which will allow you to peek under the hood of our business and see the exact tools and systems and even the vendors we use to grow our business. After that, you will get the top 100 best performing keywords pack, which will give you the exact keywords we use to target leads online and generate leads without having to lift a finger. Next, you'll get the contracts bundle for wholesaling and renting real estate, which will give you access to all of the contracts we use in the field to execute all types of transactions. After that, you'll get the Investor's Quick Analysis Calculator and Offer Tool, which will allow you to quickly calculate whether a deal is an actual deal and will allow you to create an offer automatically from those calculations. Next up, we'll give you the Investor's Daily Success Tracker, which is a tracker you can use to ensure you are taking the right actions day in and day out to reach your financial goals in real estate. And finally, you will get the Wholesaler's Template for Quick Assignment Cash, which will give you the templates we use to present our wholesale deals professionally and efficiently to our buyers. I know that is a ton of things to say. I'm glad you were able to stick with it. So you'll get both the ebook and all of those 7 free bonuses when you download the ebook today. All we charge is the admin cost to run the show. So if you are interested in the ebook and the bonus bundle, head on over to the website at therealestateinvestingclub.com. Click on Get the Ebook Bundle at the top of the page and take advantage of that deal. With that housekeeping item covered, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, an even better week. Keep rocking real estate, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. All right, before I officially sign off, I have a quick announcement to make. If you're interested in becoming a passive investor in one of my deals, my own company, Kaizen Properties, is looking for capital partners for our upcoming projects. We invest in what are known as recession-resistant assets, mainly self-storage facilities, mobile home and RV parks, and industrial properties. If you're interested in investing and would like to learn a little bit more about my company, our investing criteria, and some of the previous projects we've done, go to the Real Estate Investing Club podcast at therealestateinvestingclub.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. Click on the Invest With Us button. That'll pop up the investor form. Fill that out, and we will reach back out to you as soon as we can. Or if you prefer a little bit more of a personal touch, you can reach out to me at gabe@therealestateinvestingclub.com. So really, that is it. Again, it was a pleasure hanging out with you guys during this episode, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.